We've got problems! Open fire!
Welcome back to the Rebellion. Today, we're diving into an optional but strongly recommended prerequisite modification designed to supercharge the efficiency of our newly unveiled game-changing lightsaber effect approach, the one linked in the description box and pinned comment below. That's the technique that saved our 2024 SaberComp entry, Kyle Katarn Rising Dawn, turning what looked like a near impossible sprint into a polished, award-winning project. And if you're new to SaberComp, it's a high-energy global competition where teams create 5-minute lightsaber-centric fan films judged on choreography, cinematography, editing, visual effects, and sound. The first key step to this new method of Saber Roto is taken in pre-production. This step is to best ensure your saber blades pop out from your background and foreground, and in most cases, this means they need to glow bright. So yes, before you ask, just use NeoPixel sabers, right? Not so fast. Here's the lowdown. We hit hard in our duels, and blades break. A lot.
Is there a doctor in the Jedi Temple?
NeoPixel replacements cost 3 to 6 times more than baselit. The metal connectors inside the hilt and the bottom of the blades, those are known to disconnect during heavy choreography. And yes, heavy-grade NeoPixels do exist and protect the LEDs, but they add weight, risking more damage from blade to blade, as well as user injury. You could literally bludgeon your partner with some of these. Might not be bad for home defense, which we've all probably fantasized about a little bit, right? Our recommendation, in most cases, is dedicated single-color stunt bulbs, which outglow RGBs. And crucially, stunt bulbs don't drain batteries nearly as fast. During filming, frequent battery swaps are simply not an option. The fewer interruptions to the flow of the filming, the better. But what about those of us that have already loaded up on or have our eyes fixed on some really slick RGB sabers? No problem. I've engineered a slick conversion from standard RGB baselit cores turned into brighter, more reliable single-color stunts. I flew down to San Antonio in 2022 to meet Mike Starwalker and the crew for the first time, and he was quick to break down the stunt sabers versus RGB. And when I saw the glow in action, yeah, illuminating doesn't quite cover it. The stunt sabers, they were blazingly bright and practically post-proof 90% of the time. The one RGB we used, that thing looked more like a glow stick at a middle school dance. We didn't have the time nor patience to fix it back then. Fast forward to Skywalker and Kyle Katarn Rising Dawn, the budget said RGB for some of the Reborn acolytes. But then came a new twist. Upgraded cameras with way more dynamic range. Normally this is a win for the film look, but when you're shooting with sabers, not so much. It turns out greater dynamic range means more plastic detail survives, dulling the glow and making rotoscoping inevitable. Thankfully, our new roto method sped things up, but if we'd had stunt sabers on set, we'd have wrapped the sequence another 4 to 6 times faster. Now before I walk you through the RGB to stunt core modification tutorial, let me introduce you to the perfect solution for your pre-existing and future beloved NeoPixel sabers that you wish to use in heavy choreography. The NeoCree V2 is a compact drop-in LED module designed to transform any NeoPixel into a high-powered single-color baselit stunt blade. Its consistent single-color output produces a smooth, trackable glow that makes roto work dramatically faster and more accurate than regular RGBs. So now we are in my garage with the nice darkness and lighting control that I have here to do a bit of hands-on comparison between several different variations, several different brands. So firstly, we're going to start off with this Rebel Agent Gen 1 saber from Aegis Sabers. Firstly, RGB. Now, we're going to go to our first generation stunt saber, another Xeno RGB, but converted to a single color stunt using the Saber Forge ones. This is using an Art Saber's bricks as the outer body. And here you go. As you can see, quite notably brighter than the RGB. Further over here, we have our Theory Sabers. Kyle Katarn Outcast Saber is full-blown NeoPixel, set to red, which is, of course, much brighter than both of them. And this is where things are going to start getting really, really interesting. Next up, another Theory Saber here, the Ronin V2. NeoPixel at the core, but Neocree converted to a stunt. So TXQ and Profi, you do not get control of brightness. You have to just simply go by what is the brightest blade color out there that outputs the most voltage into these blades. If you have white, that is the one thing that will get brighter than either one of these, not by a significant margin, but definitely another notch. I'd say at least 20 to 30%. I believe that the colors that are powering these at these bright settings, or this one at its bright setting here, is in fact yellow. Let's do a quick little comparison here. It is practically indiscernible, at least in the body. This is back to the Lightsaber's bricks here. This one is powered by a Xenopixel Gen 3 core, set to only 33% brightness, because with Xenopixel, you get that actual brightness percentage control. So at 33%, it is right up there with the two NeoPixels. That is at 33%. I can see is ever so slightly below this one. Right here, maybe 5-10% tops. These two are incredibly close. So now, let's go over to about 50, from 33 to 50, and here we are. Yes, that is pretty much the same. In fact, I'd say a little brighter than the Outcast right here, and I'd say it is so hard to see even here. It's nearly indiscernible. I would say this one is slightly higher. So maybe when this is at about 40, somewhere between 45 and 50, it's matching either one of these. All three of these are within a 5% difference. Now let's get a little crazier here. Let's jump over to 66%. And yep, definitely a tad bit brighter than either one of them. So 75%, definitely more notably brighter than either of the NeoPixels. Moving on to 100% brightness, and there we are. Yep, definitely another step brighter than either one of them. Heat is definitely building up right here at the neck where the bulb is. That is to be expected. That's part of why I would say in most cases, putting these at maximum brightness may be overkill. So to save on the amount of heat that builds up here for your hand, and also just the fact that in most cases, to overwhelm a cinema camera's dynamic range for most situations that you are in and eliminate the plastic look of these, I believe you should be good at 50 to 75% power. I don't think you need to max them out entirely. Versus again, this was the old school regular stunt, going from an RGB, a standard Xeno RGB core, wiring it, as I'm going to show you in a few minutes just how to do, into a stunt bulb provided by Saber Forge. Now, this is the most economical solution right here, since NeoPixel Sabers, they're typically $100 plus more than their RGB counterparts. Whereas if you go with NeoPixel, all you need is this barely above $50 Neocree converter, and bam, you get the best of both worlds. You get to jump back and forth between stunt use and just the sheer fun and enjoyment of NeoPixel animations. I cannot stress enough how shocked I was to discover that there is a type of baselit bulb that actually not only meets NeoPixel in brightness, but actually surpasses it. I am so glad that I've been proven wrong. So again, Stockworks, link down below. Neocree V2 bulbs, load up on them, you will not regret it. Today's video is brought to you by us, because we're launching our own metal poster line. We're rolling out our first wave of premium metal posters for our productions, available in 17x11, 10x7, and even trading card size for collectors. Click the link in the description box or pinned comment below to join the waitlist. Or, if pre-orders are live, go ahead and secure yours now. May the Force be with you. Inside of each lightsaber tends to be one of these types of cores, so a typical Xeno RGB 3.0 here, and two fairly typical, especially I think this size, TXQ core, and then this one, TXQ as well I believe, but a lot smaller, obviously. So by the time we're done with this conversion today, they're going to end up looking more like this one right here. which, if you notice, has the head replaced. So we have to actually cut out the compartment that is holding the initial LEDs in order to accommodate these pre-made Saberforge stunt bulbs that have their own built-in heat sinks and everything. Basically, they take care of a few steps for us. So let's get going from here. This is how they come here. Cable's a lot longer at first. I had already trimmed these down. This has been used, and there are some things that have gone a bit wrong after a good while. Several of these have lasted me over 2 years now of very heavy usage. I'm talking several days a week. On a couple of them, internal side actually came loose in here, and there's no way to get inside. So I've configured a new solution, which I'm going to walk you through. This right here is ultra red gasket maker high temp. Very important to get something that is meant for very high temperatures for filling in these holes and helping to put some more security onto each of the wires here. So that's what we're going to do. It's coming out, and then we'd have to leave them secure overnight. So keep that in mind when you start this process. Get it well submerged, get it well surrounded by the gasket maker here. The temperature ratings, I believe, were 450 to 600, way beyond what these bulbs will get. These bulbs, they do get freaking hot. But yeah, these wires definitely could use some help for the long term. Close these things up in like a container or a drawer or something where they're not going to be disturbed and where their fumes are contained, especially if you have pets, but you certainly don't want to be doing this like in your bedroom either. So for this demonstration, I'm going to be opening up a standard size TXQ core that goes to the blue and gold saber right here. So let's get this bad boy opened up. So the first thing we gotta do is we can get around to cutting off the head here to create a space to super glue or epoxy our stunt bulb on. We gotta get the RGB light disconnected. So there we go. Just snip that off there. Snip, snip, snip. Yeah, gotta make sure to really get these edges good and clean, because otherwise it may be super glue or epoxy that you use may not get to do its job. You want them flush, so file them down to really finish the job. It's really important that this is a completely flattened, flush, smooth surface for the super glue / epoxy, whatever you're going to use. For now I'm using super glue, but one of these days I will go back in and reapply epoxy, as some of these come apart from usage, but at least with the gasket maker fully cured in here, I think that's going to help these hold up a lot better, so that way when they do come a little bit loose and there's a wee bit of tug, that tug does not get to affect the leads deep within where the actual connection points are inside the housing, thanks to the gasket maker. Today's video is brought to you by us, because we're launching our own metal poster line, available in 17x11, 10x7, and even trading card size for collectors. We've got more designs on the way, and we'll continue to add more several times per year. Click the link in the description box or pinned comment below to join the waitlist. Or, if pre-orders are live, go ahead and secure yours now. May the force be with you. Normally, with the Xeno RGBs, you want the red and the white cable, or red and the black. But here's the thing. Our XRGBs usually have black or white as the fourth cable. This case, they don't. The TXQ does not here. So together, we're going to experiment on this, because I don't know, and you may not know either. So we're gonna have to find out through a little bit of a test run here. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be red and white. That are the two colors that we're gonna want running here. Because, yeah, we have yellow this time. Because normally it would be red, green, blue, white. This is very different. Push together right here. Alright. Just screwing, guys, just screwing. Obviously, it wouldn't even be that bad. It's only 3.7 volts, 4.2 tops. All right, so let's see here. So green is going to white. Let's see how this works. Point these away from yourself or even just downward. All right, it's definitely activated. All right, but the bulb is not receiving full electricity here. I believe it's the green that has to get connected to something else. And I'm gonna ready up the yellow. And this time we can just do things a little faster and just simply, all right, black and green, nope, green and yellow, aha, there we are, green and yellow. Get some shrink wrap in there, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, have it reserved right on the cables that you're actually going to use ahead of time so you don't twist the ends together and then find, oh crap, there's no way to get the shrink wrap on, now I have to undo that. It's not a fun correction to make. Now, Now, mind you, it is only on one side of these things that you ever want to epoxy or superglue your stunt bulb to. You don't want to epoxy it or superglue it after you've closed up the core shell here, because otherwise you are going to have a hard friggin' time opening it back up come the next time you need to do some maintenance. It's just not flush here. So this is how it's going to sit. You're going to want the side with more surface area to be the side that you align onto this side of the core. Now, one thing that is really handy that comes with a lot of Saber cores, at least Xeno RGBs, are these tubes that are meant to help further stabilize them in the hilts with larger inner diameters as assurance that you are getting everything aligned right, especially when you are going to superglue or epoxy these stunt bulbs onto half of the core. So let's attach these cables. Okay, so that stage is done. Now, we're going to want a hot glue gun, or better yet, a soldering iron handy for this part. You just use this to help shrink wrap down on those connection points and secure them. Now it's time to super glue this surface right here, and we're going to have to very quickly use the tube to make sure that the alignment is flush as possible. Do not mess around with this. I always put a lot. There we go. Get that alignment real good. And then keep on nudging this if you have one, so that way super glue does not manage to really adhere to this. That looks very, very flush. Okay, should be in good shape here. So wrap this bad boy up. This does tend to get a little tricky, I will warn you. TXQ here is a bit more tight, I'm realizing here. Okay, this side here. There we go. Now, for some hilts this works and some it doesn't, but I often reinforce the head of the cores here with a bit of tape, like what I have up on here. I don't know if you can really see it. What I do is I only take 1 inch of packing tape. I align with the seam between the two halves of the core. Now, let's see if it's the same as... Oh no, it's a bit more than the Xeno RGB in this case, but oh well, it's fine. And here we go. Alright, trust only in the Force. In most cases, you'll probably find it best to use red or white glow settings to power your bulb to its max. Even when not actually a red or white unit, using the standard 12 or so color changing cycle mode to find your maximum brightness will probably be the easiest, as well as the app if your Saber has one. Your RGB core will now power a brighter, single color, ready to make your post-production rotoscoping much easier. If you found this tutorial to be helpful, please leave a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. To support our channel, consider becoming a member on either our YouTube or Patreon, as well as Saber sales and other merchandise and supplements in our links below. May the Force be with you.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Do it. Do it. Do it.